In the past hour, the Prime Minister has told the families of the Nottingham attack victims that there will now be a full statutory public inquiry into the deaths of their loved ones, and it'll begin in a matter of weeks. 65-year-old caretaker Ian Coates and 19-year-old students Barnaby Webber and Grace O'Malley KUMAR were stabbed to death in June 2023. The attacker, Valdo Calocane, attempted to kill 3 other people. He was sentenced in January last year to an indefinite hospital order. But last week, an NHS review into his care leading up to the attack found major failings. The families have just been talking outside Downing Street following their meeting with the Prime Minister.
They have confirmed the public inquiry and that it will be statutory. So it's the first bit of positive news that we've been able to have for a very, very long time. Still processing it, so...
It'll be in the next few weeks. As we have always said as families, everywhere that Valdo Calocane intersected with the authorities, we were let down by those authorities. And today the Prime Minister confirming that we are going to have a public inquiry that will be statutory and will have powers to call people. And the judge will be able to call witnesses up, and we will be able to get answers to all of the many questions that we've got there. Has been fantastic news for all of us. We welcome it. We've been working so hard towards it, and I just think we couldn't be more delighted. I think for the nation it's a great day because everyone who's also suffered the way we have, we will make sure that changes come from our inquiry for the betterment of our country that makes us and all the families and all the parents, and it makes the land safer for all of us. We are absolutely delighted.
Well, we've already told him when he was in opposition, when we had the opportunity to meet him, and it's been well documented, all of the emotional struggles and devastation and grief that we've been through. But I think today is a watershed moment that we called for last week, because it will be a moment in time where those who failed so grossly will be held to account, but most importantly, things will probably change now. She says probably will change for the better, for the future. And a quote in a great book I've just read says, "You need to open your eyes to see the truth." And I think that's what will come about. And we've been told that there's an expectation and a hope that this will begin shortly, very shortly, this year, and that it will be concluded within 2 years. And considering some of the other inquiries that have been going on in this country for decades, I believe that's a reasonable timescale.
Can I ask you, do you envisage a change and things going to happen? You weren't very happy last week.
Yes, last week there wasn't very many positive emotions you could bring out of that meeting, and I widely expressed that myself. But today is finally a good reason to come to London, to get some good words, to get the promises that we were given. And now we can see changes, and it's not just about us and our families and the victims, it's about the future, it's about the public and protecting the public so they don't have to walk in our shoes and they can feel safe.
Sandra, can I ask you, from day one as families, you felt you had to fight to get the truth, your victims, but actually you're the ones that having to do the hard legwork. Do you finally feel that you're being listened to?
I think today we got the answer that we've been fighting for, a judge-led statutory inquiry with powers, wide-ranging powers that can call witnesses, and we can hold people accountable today. I think thank you to all of you for your support in bringing that pressure. It's really meant so much. It felt like we were exhaling for about 2 minutes today because of how much pressure was lifted off. We would really like to thank you for all your support that you have actually given us in coming to this point, because you really have contributed to it.
Can I ask please, what is, from Jubilee Customer Hope, can I ask what was said to you by the Prime Minister? Who was in the meeting with you?
So it was led by the Prime Minister, and also the Attorney General, the Home Secretary, the Health Secretary, the Justice. I always say I'm terrible with titles. The Justice Secretary and the Victims Minister. a pretty stellar lineup, but I think it reflects the gravity and the seriousness of where we've been. But don't underestimate the cost and the toll that it's taken on everybody stood here today to get to this point. We shouldn't be here. I think it's shameful that we've had to fight like we have against the agencies, the organisations and the institutions, Leicestershire Police Force, Nottinghamshire Police Force, Nottinghamshire Mental Health Trust, and the CPS and actually entire criminal justice system. It's shameful that we've been treated in such appalling ways and in such appalling manner.
Did he apologise on behalf of those bodies?
Yes. I would take that as
yes, he did, and we actually thanked him I personally thanked him from a father to a father to say thank you very much, because that is something that I think my daughter deserved. So I think he related to us as a family man, and I think that also came through today. It's something I'm very grateful for, and I think we are confident that I think we are going to get justice for our loved ones today.
What will change mean?
Change for us will mean accountability, and accountability means that's how, because people make up systems, we will only get change, systemic change, if we hold people accountable. We're determined to hold people accountable. Things that went wrong in our case were very basic. They were not complicated. It was people just not doing their jobs. If we hold them accountable, they will change systems across our country. It will make it safer for all of us, all of the mums and dads out there who are saying bye to their kids, all the parents who are leaving out there. We all deserve to be safe. It's a basic right. And I really think that we will get changes across the board from this case onwards for everyone. And everyone who's not had a voice to date, we represent them too. We want change for them as we want change for us.
Yeah.
Well, our political correspondent Rob Powell is down there in Downing Street. These families have been through so much, Rob. It's great to hear them today saying that they feel a weight has been lifted.
Yeah, a sense of relief, I think, but certainly some frustration that it's taken this long to get to this point of the confirmation of a judge-led public inquiry. We already know from a review that was published last week about many of the failings in the care of Valdo Calocane, the individual who killed those 3 people in Nottingham in June 2023. Multiple failings were identified in the way his case was handled in that review. I think what this public inquiry will be able to do will be to dig into those failings in more detail. It will be able to compel witnesses to come forward and give evidence. It will maybe be able to unroot documents and evidence that has previously not been put out into the public. And I think that was one of the things that came across from the families when they were speaking here a little bit earlier, was that this may well be a moment where there is some sense of accountability, that they actually get a clearer idea of who made what mistakes in the failure of care that took place in the run-up to them losing their loved ones. And actually some of those questions will be answered. I think the recommendations that come from this public inquiry as well will matter, because you heard the families there talking about some of the change that could be brought about in terms of bringing forward changes in how people with severe mental health conditions are cared for, so that incidents like this don't happen again in the future. Now, the meeting looks to have been about an hour or so. It was really with very senior people in the government. The Prime Minister chaired it, the Home Secretary was there, the Health Secretary, the Justice Secretary and the Victims Minister as well. So the government putting forward really the most senior people in government to reassure the families that after so many failings by various arms of the state, they are now determined to try and put that right. We should get the name of who will be chairing that inquiry in the coming weeks, and the families say that the Prime Minister assured them that he wants the full inquiry to be wrapped within 2 years.